Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Ansel Armstrong back again. And today's Tuesday. We're going to be getting our very first roster update prediction video of the year, looking at guys that I think could be going from gold to diamond and from silver to gold in this update. Now, one thing I do want to note in the cards that we are looking at, we're really looking at it from a value standpoint. So there's a couple guys out there that are kind of obvious next diamonds, guys like, a Trevor Bauer or Juan Soto. They're already up to 4,000, 4,500 subs. So honestly, from an investment perspective, there's just not a whole lot of opportunity to make a lot of subs from those cards. So we're going to be ignoring those guys. We're going to take a look at some more under the radar guys that you can get below that 3,500 kind of stub mark, give or take a little bit. And so that these guys that you invest in, you have the opportunity to make quite a bit of stubs when you're playing with the market. Now, again, there's going to be some more risk in some of these guys, but these are all guys that I feel good. And we're going to look at it analytically. I'm not just going to throw out a bunch of names. We're going to look at it analytically and take a look at where actually specifically within these cards they could get those boosts that they need to get them into the next tier. And as always, we do stream 5 days of the week on Twitch. Link down in the description below. We're always talking about current players and how they're performing in games as they happen live. Soto last night was going off. We were talking about that live on stream and watching how that impacts and changes his market in real time, going from a 2K card up to a 4K card in the blink of an eye after that one insane game he had last night. So we're always looking at those type of things, talking about those type of things, making sure we're up to date on everything and we're being one step ahead of the market as much as possible. So the first card we're going to be looking at here for upgrades is Whit Merrifield. As you can see, currently his sell now price is under 3K, 29.80. I've actually picked up quite a few of them around that 1,200 mark. If we take a look at his marketplace trends, he is starting to trend upwards, a little bit down today versus where he was yesterday, but he's definitely starting to trend upwards. He's playing really well this year. I'm looking at my numbers. His average is a little bit down compared to his career average. He's only hitting 284 this year, but his slugging is up. His weighted on base average is up. And more pertinently, his isolated power is up significantly, up to 224 compared to his career average of 151. And when you look at Whit Merrifield's card, he's already in 84. There's one big area that jumps out of what's holding him back. It's that power. 52 power right, 59 power left. But if he has a 224 isolated power number, that's a number that we know SDS uses to calculate their power numbers. We've seen some wonky things happen with those kind of guys in the past. Any MLB 17 people remember Franklin Gutierrez from MLB 17 had like 90 power, 95 power back when the max cap was 99, just because he had a really strong isolated power numbers. So Whit Merrifield could easily get some power numbers, and honestly, he's in 84 already. You just get 2, 3, 4 power boosts to each side, maybe one side. That could be all it takes to get him up to that 84 mark. And then one more thing to consider with Whit Merrifield is that he is striking out significantly less this year, down to 14.9% strikeout rate compared to a 17.1%. And that's part of the reason why he's been hitting the ball really well. And not to mention his batting average on balls and plays actually only 288. So even though he's hitting for more power, he's gotten a little unlucky out on the field compared to 350 last year in 2019 and 352 in 2018. So if he gets his batting average on balls and play back up to 350 and keeps the current power that he has, that's an easily going to be giving him enough stats, enough play time, enough playing well at a high level to get him up to a diamond. Honestly, I can see him going diamond this Friday. And of course, that's why we're talking about him right here, because I am predicting Whit Merrifield as one of the cards to go diamond this Friday. Now, the next card we're going to be looking at is one a lot of people have already been investing in. So this one, I think, is a little bit more safe of a play. It's going to be Lance Lynn. As you see, he's already at 3,500 subs. But again, even if you buy it at 3,500, it's getting a little bit high to the point where I'm not quite sure if I'm going to throw in any more subs on Lynn or not. But if he goes diamond, obviously 1,500 subs per on that one. Lance Lynn, he's been having a great year so far. 1.16 ERA. He's just giving up a handful of runs across 23.1 innings, 4 starts, 2 wins. He's been crushing it. Only problem so far with him has been the walks this year have been a little bit higher. So potentially you could see him actually get a knock to his walks per 9. But if they then inversely upgrade his Ks per 9, which are up, his hits per 9 are down, and his home runs per 9 are down, you increase those numbers, you move some of those numbers around. Lynn could easily be moving on up into the diamond tier. He started this year at an 81, then they upped him to an 83, then last update they upped him to an 84. So he's gotten an update every single roster update we've had so far. Could be getting another one going diamond this Friday. The only thing I would say is that his last start wasn't bad, but it was just it wasn't anything that jumped off the page. Probably not going to move the needle too much. If they were wanting to see one more good start out of him to make him diamond, they didn't quite get that with his last one. It wasn't a bad start. It was a quality start. He ended up taking the win, I believe, but it wasn't anything that jumped off the page at you. And another thing to consider, his ground ball rate is really low right now, but he's also not giving up a ton of home runs. So could be something he's got to give there at some point. He has a 99% left on base percentage, which of course is due to just him not giving up runs. Again, another thing that's probably going to give or take at some point down the line. He's probably going to give up a little bit more runs than a 1.16 ERA. But even if he pitches, around that 2.5, high 2 mark with how well he pitched last year, top 10 Cy Young guy last year, and he could easily see himself going diamond. And I really do think, even with that last start just being more average, more good as opposed to great, I think he could easily get that just slight boost. 64 home runs per 9. We can see right there. You up that just a couple there. He's moving on up to the diamond. So he's my number 2 guy that I'm looking at this week for going to that gold to diamond. Now, the last guy we're looking at this week for gold to diamond is a little bit more of a stretch, maybe a little bit more of a long-term investment opportunity here, but that's Chris Paddock. As you can see, he's down to 1,600 stubs, which is kind of insane in my opinion. He's a great young pitcher. He's been pitching really well this year. He's been performing well. His last start wasn't his best start. It was actually his worst start so far in the season. But prior to that, he had been lights out so far this season. And one bad start's not going to write the book on him. I think he's a couple good starts away, a couple elite starts away from getting up into that diamond tier. We've seen them, SDS, be very aggressive with guys upgrading this year. That could be Chris Paddock here in this next couple weeks. Again, a little bit more of a long-term one. When you look at what he's working with, though, with his hits per 9, Ks per 9, walks per 9, home runs per 9, obviously the big thing holding him back is the home runs per 9, which he hasn't been any necessarily better on this year, but his walks per 9 are down, his Ks per 9 are in line where it was last year, and his hits per 9 are also down compared to the previous season. Not to mention that he's actually been getting a little bit unlucky. In 2019, he had the 237 batting average on balls in play, and that's pretty around where he's been. He's at 267 so far this year, so he could jump that down a little bit. Maybe that's going to be his new norm. Who knows? He also has a higher home run to fly ball ratio than this year than he has in the past. If that comes back down more to his normal levels, his home runs per 9 are going to drop down. And again, at an 83 with the 46 home runs per 9, that's really what's holding him back as the long ball has been crushing him. He's able to boost that up a little bit. 2 overall points is nothing. That's nothing. He can get that easily. He could be getting it this week. Again, this guy's a little bit more of a long-term investment I'm looking like for Paddock, especially at 1,600 subs. The guy I'm going to be looking at a lot Friday. If he doesn't go up when we get that new Conquest map, if there's ball impacts or whatever and golds crash, guy like Paddock for 1,400 subs, I'm going to buy as many of those as I can because I do believe in Paddock. He's a great young pitcher. Another thing is SDS loves to move up young people a little bit quicker because they don't have that 3-year track record potentially holding them back, right? So if this, for example, Paddock is only his 2nd year. So with it being the 2nd year, what we're seeing of him is who he is, so to speak, as opposed to a veteran player who maybe is having a good year after 3 poor years. We kind of know maybe that 3 poor years is probably more so what he is, as opposed to a young player. That's just probably who they are. So going to be a little bit more generous in giving those guys upgrades. So those are my 3 diamond predictions for this week. Again, that's Whit Merrifield, that's Lane Slynn, that's Chris Paddock. Those are the 3 guys I'm looking at, 3 under the radar guys. Again, we're not looking at the obvious ones like a guy like Bauer or even Sander Bogarts, Juan Soto, guys like that probably are going diamond. We're looking a little under the radar. Some guys we can pick up a little bit cheaper, maybe capitalize and make some more subs on. But let's take a look at some silver to gold guys as well. Ton of subs to be made here in this case also. So the first guy we're going to be looking at here is Brandon Lowe, or it's Lowe. I'm not sure. I know y'all will correct me. I know they have Brandon Lowe and Nate Lowe, and they say it differently, but I don't know which one's which. You know, shoot me. Sue me, okay? Sue me. We got Brandon Lowe, 389 subs right now. That is an insanely low price. If he ends up going gold this week, you're picking a card up for 389 that goes gold. That is a huge investment. He did get an upgrade last week. I believe it was a 76 before last week. So another 2 upgrade, he's up to gold. Pretty decent hitting stats across the board. I think the big thing with Brandon is, though, that, again, he is a younger player, so SDS is going to be a little bit more generous in upgrading those guys as we kind of figure out what type of player they are. Of course, realistically, if he doesn't get hurt last year, and I think a lot of people overlook this, if Brandon doesn't get hurt last year, he's probably the rookie of the year instead of Yordan Alvarez. So I think that's something to consider. I think he's a great young player. He's playing real this year. He's cooled off just slightly. He's only hitting 263 with a WRC plus at 150. Is weighted on base at 377, a 298 isolated power. So a lot of opportunities to increase his strikeout rates down, his walk rates in line with where it was last year. He's playing really well. And he's a guy who doesn't necessarily have to play better than he played last year to become a gold. All he does is have to recreate that performance because he played like a gold last year. He just doesn't have the longevity so far to become a gold. He's getting that longevity this year, playing at a high level again. And he's a really overlooked, underrated player, especially at 389 stubs. You can pick up a lot of him for real cheap. And worst case, you can go through, you can sell him back 400 stubs. You know what I'm saying? There's not a whole lot of risk there. But if he goes gold, you're making 600 subs per. You're more than doubling your stubs. That is a huge win right there. I'm real high on Brandon Lowe this week. I've gotten quite a bit of them so far. I'm going to be picking up some more of them, especially if he doesn't go gold this week. I'm going to be picking up some more of them. But let's hop into our second silver to diamond pick. Next guy we're looking at here, he's only a 76. Again, we're looking at these hidden gems, underrated guys. That's the whole name of the game here. It's Mark Canha. He's had a pretty solid season so far. But more importantly, he played great last year, and he's playing as well this year, as opposed to his 2018 where he was pretty rough. Only hit 249 with a 114 WRC plus. And in 2017, he only hit 208 with a 262 on base percentage, whereas this year hitting 264 but with a 420 on base percentage, weighted on base of 359. Playing real well, walking a little bit more, striking out a little bit more, but walking a little bit more. He's not hitting for a ton of power this year that we'd usually like to see. We'd expect a little bit more power out of Mark that we've seen so far. So hopefully he doesn't get a power downgrade. But most importantly, again, we're looking at guys who have room to upgrade. When you look at Mark, one of his hitting attributes is not like the others, contact versus lefties. 50 contact versus lefties, that's real low. He's got a lot of room to improve there. And so far this season, he's batting 300 versus lefties. Small sample size, but 16 game sample size nonetheless. And we know that they're kind of extrapolating the stats this year to represent a full season because we're upgrading guys hella quick. We're going gold to diamond and silver to gold after 1 start, 2 starts, whatever. Mark Canha only has the 50 contact versus lefties, but hitting 300 against them this year compared to his career average of just like 226, 225 something. Career average against lefties. So if he gets that contact versus lefty boost, maintains all of his other hitting attributes, that may be all he needs to get up to that 80 mark. As you can see, he's playing up today with the +11 boost, the right contact and power. He gets up to a 78. So if he gets a little bit of boost to his contact and power, gets that big boost to the contact left. Maybe his vision works out a little bit more, or his discipline, one of those things. He could be moving on up to gold again, only at 213 stubs. So not necessarily thinking this guy, he's another maybe a little bit more of a long-term guy. Maybe not go up Friday. Definitely could. Might not go up Friday, though. But again, at 213 subs, a lot of investment opportunities. If you start buying up a ton of Mark at 213 subs, he has a week where he pops off, or really even just continues to play like he is now. Because remember, 2018, 2017 were both very, very bad years for him, as was 2016 in a small sample size. But really, 2018 and 2017 were really bad years. And as that 3-year averages removes those 2017 games, gets replaced with these 2020 games, what we see is a guy who, even without necessarily playing better than he did the previous year, he's going to get upgraded as his average over that 3-year span looks a lot more favorable. So I think that's something to consider. He's playing well enough to get the boost versus lefties this year. That could be all he takes. So I'm feeling pretty high on Mark, especially at 213 subs. Let's take a look at the last guy we have for this episode, though. The last guy we're looking at today is everyone's favorite. It's Byron Buxton. At a 79 overall, real close getting up to gold, just sitting at 553 subs right now. And if you look at his attributes and you look at his player card, if you just sneeze on his contact and power, he goes gold. He doesn't need much. He literally just has to be an average hitter. He maybe even a below average hitter in the major leagues because of his speed, because of his defense that's holding his overall up so high. It doesn't take a lot for him to become suddenly a gold player. He needs a +2, 3, 4, 5 to his hitting attributes, and he's going on up. And when you look at his attributes this year, he's only batting 211, which is in line with 50 contact. Only batting 211, but a 217 batting average on balls in play. You would think that's going to come up a little bit. He hit 226 in 2018 his batting average on balls in play, and 314 last year. So you'd really think it's going to come up from that 217 number. He gets a couple more balls to drop his way. That average comes up. Most importantly, though, is isolated power up to 263. So he's showing a lot more pop. Already hit 3 home runs in 13 games this year. That's quite a bit. Now, one thing to worry, he is striking out more, walking less. Nobody likes to see that, but he starts taking a couple pitches, finds a couple balls to drop in the holes, and you could easily see him get a slight contact boost. He could definitely use a slight contact boost to his power. I mean, again, 3 home runs in 13 games for Byron Buxton. That's equating to more than 48, 50 power versus right and left. So a slight boost there could be all he takes to get up to gold. Maybe he gets a little bit lucky over these next week or so, next couple games. We know that the rating cutoff for this year is on a Wednesday. It's currently Tuesday as we're making it, so we still have today's games and tomorrow's games that can make an impact. In a 60-game season and weekly roster updates, 2 hot games in a row where you go 2 for 3 or you go 4 for 7 in a series or something along those lines, that could be all it takes to get you that bump that you need to get up to gold. So I'm actually really kind of vibing with Buxton. Again, mainly not because he's playing super well, not playing bad, but it's not necessarily that he's playing well. It's just that he has so much room to upgrade. It's hard to not upgrade him when he has 50 contact and 50 power and 48 power and 58 contact. It's difficult to not find room for him to upgrade because he has so much ability to grow there. He doesn't even have to hit good to get those attribute upgrades. He just has to be okay. That's it. That's all you got to do, Byron. You just got to be okay, and he ends up getting that contact boost, and he'll be chilling out of gold. Not to mention, this Twins lineup is stacked. He's got tons of lineup protection. That should help him definitely as the year goes on. Help him, get some more hits, drive in some more runs, see some better pitches. He just needs to find those pitches a little bit more. Again, he was a guy that I'm looking more long-term. Don't necessarily think Buxton's going to be going gold this next update, but he's a guy who I have my eye on. And I'm going to be investing in, especially come Friday. If he doesn't go gold, especially come Friday with the new inning program, with the new Conquest map, he's down to 300, 350 subs. I'm picking them all up, baby. I'm picking them all up because I'm a believer of Byron Buxton, or as we like to say around the Twitch streams with his Face of the Franchise card, old Byron Bonds, baby. If you never used that Face of the Franchise card, a little bit, we've gone off course a little bit here, but if you never used Face of the Franchise card, that card slaps. Card absolutely rakes. This would be an event BR guide at a gold for Byron Buxton, so I'm hoping he gets that a little bit of upgrade. He's one of the guys I'm banking on. So that does do it today, though. I am sure you're at this point of the video and you're saying, dadgum, Ants, you forgot X player, Y player, Z player. I'm sure I did. Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's chat about it. Who do you think is going to be upgraded that I'm absolutely overlooking? And let's avoid some of the obvious ones. I mean, throw them out there, but let's talk about what are some under the radar guys y'all are looking at. Some guys that are cheap right now in the market. Some guys maybe people are overlooking in terms of potential to get an upgrade. Guy like Sonny Gray, nobody really invested too much into him to go up to Diamond. His price won that 5K stubs as a gold still the day before the first roster race. So let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on who is going to be upgraded? Maybe even we get our first set of downgrades this week. Who knows? Let's chat about it. As always, though, if you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have surpassed 8K subscribers, which is just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. We'll have something special in store for 10K subscribers as well. That's going to be here before we know it. Until next time, though, I appreciate all y'all hanging out, watching the video. I hope you found this video informative. Hope you go out, make some investments, make some stubs. But until next time, I'll catch y'all around.